Welcome everybody to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show. I am your host and also the founder of Real Coaching Gradient TV Network, as well as Conscious Evolution Media. And we have a wonderful guest with us on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Her name is Wendy Baudín, and she is a life coach. And she has lots of business experiences and marketing degrees, and she has all kinds of titles. Too many for me to to mention. So what I will do right away is I will ask you my usual opening, which is, if I took away all those titles that I just mentioned, I'm sure you have lots more. Like you're probably known as, a wife. In the past you were known as a girlfriend, whatever, sister, brother, all those things. If I took all those titles away, what would be left? Who is really Wendy Baudín?
Wendy Baudín is an individual that's pretty much dedicated her whole life to find that true happiness that dwells within her. I probably started on the path when I was in my late 20s due to my life had gone pretty smooth most of my childhood into college, marriage, but then things started to occur that were traumatic. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't understand it. So I started to dive into how to handle the drama and the chaos. And so I would say that I'm an individual that's been on a mission to find her inner self-love.
And how is that going?
It's going very well, thank you.
Well, you have to give me more details than that. You can't get away with that. It's going really well. Thank you.
Well, so much has happened in my life that's been pretty traumatic, but through the things that I have learned and experienced, and that's what I like to share with others, and that's why I became a life coach, is because I've been through a lot of stuff that I know other people have. And so it's been so monumental for me to put all the things that I've learned and have worked for me, to put it into a program to help others. And I've just basically have done this pretty much all my life. It's never been in a program, but it just seemed that people always felt very comfortable coming to me and having me listen to them and give them whatever guidance I could. So it's been pretty much what I've done all my life. So what this is now allowing me to do is really reach out to the masses and put it into a concise program to really help people. I've utilized it even recent in my life, and I say to myself, if I didn't have the tools and the mantras and the meditation and just the reprogramming that I had to do to start thinking about happiness and good things and big dreams and focus on that rather than the other stuff, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to be here with you right now. And especially this last situation, my mom had a major stroke, and for the last 6 months I've been her 24/7 caregiver. So and the things that I had to go through while she was in the hospital, and to move her from her hometown to mine, to have my house renovated, to take care of selling her home and be able to handle her condition, if I didn't have those things, I just said to myself, if I didn't have this, I would not have made it. I would have been a basket case. So I know it works. And so that's what's really cool about it all, is there is things that work. You may never stop completely all the chaos that happens in your life, but you sure can learn how to handle it and stay strong.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Well, probably later on in the show, because what I'm finding to be really interesting and challenging, and I'd like your feedback about that, is that there's those people that are awake and conscious, and you and I are certainly part of those people. Not that that makes us better or worse than anybody else. It's just what's interesting is, and I'm speaking of a personal experience, is when I wasn't awake and conscious, Wendy, I it's like ignorance was a blessing, because I didn't know that there was anything better, and I didn't even know how to ask the questions. I was just I thought that everything that was happening and everything that was doing was exactly right on. I didn't question myself, and then when I became awake and conscious, there's no way back to that ignorance.
Right.
And then what's interesting is now that I notice, when I'm dealing with someone or I'm dealing with the outside world that's not awake and conscious, and how do we as awake conscious people interact with that? That's a whole separate challenge, and I want to talk to you about that later on. But first, what I'm curious about is, would you be willing to share some of the challenges? I mean, you just mentioned one with your mom, but maybe another one from early on from your life that really took you for a spin.
I think what really started me full force on this journey of self-love and self-introspection and confidence was the first thing that happened was I lost a child. I lost a baby. And then directly after that, I lost my father, who I was really close to. I'm the only child. So that was devastating to both my mother and myself. So I had those two very close together, and then right at the same time, my grandmother passed. So it was I didn't understand all of that. I didn't understand the purpose for it. I didn't understand the whys. And so I was very confused and frustrated, tormented. And that started me from that aspect. And then the next thing was a divorce, of course, because of all the chaos I was going through. But at the same time, I started to find answers. I got into Hatha Yoga was my first step. I had always gone to church, always he had read the Bible, did all of that, but I was still searching. There was still something void inside. I still didn't have all the answers. I wasn't strong enough to handle what was going on, and I didn't understand it.
Mm. Yeah, so what I'm hearing there, Wendy, is that you were looking for the solutions outside of yourself, just like most people do.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't out there, right?
Right.
So you came to the same conclusion to what I came to, which is we have to go inside of us, because that's where the answers are. We all have the answers.
Yes.
We don't need to go to the Bible. We don't need to go to a guru. We don't need to go to, in a way, I appreciate all the self-development and all the stuff that I did for the last 30, 40 years.
Absolutely.
Because it's responsible for getting me to where I am today, and it helped me to switch my mindset. I used to be a very negative person. I always saw the glass half full versus half empty, and I sometimes think about it and I go, wow, how the heck did those people put up with me? Those people that were around me, not just the people that I loved, but people that I was working with. It's like, oh my God. I was a constant complainer, and I so much appreciate how my life has turned out and where it is today. And because of the contrast is the only reason and only way that I can appreciate it. Otherwise, I wouldn't know the difference.
Exactly.
So what I'm also curious about is that, why is it that you are drawn to working with women? And because I find this a lot. We've had thousands of people come through this network,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of interesting that 80% of them are women. And I don't know what men are doing and what they are up to today, because they certainly, I view our network, Conscious Evolution Media Network, as a laboratory, because what's happening here is what's happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reflection, and I don't know what men are doing. It's kind of interesting, but I find it that women are much more open to self-evolution, much more open to sharing their feelings.
Correct.
And so I'm just curious, just hear it from you directly, because you want to work with people, women that are going through their midlife kind of crises,
Yep.
where they actually maybe on the fence, and they actually open, and they're willing to be open and listen to something other than what they've been listening to all their lives.
Right.
And
Yep. They're ready
and
for some changes.
yeah, and why is it that you know, because men are going through, there's men that are going through midlife crisis as well.
Yep.
So tell me about that. Why is it that you just want to work with women?
Well, I can really work with anyone, and I used to do that, but it was really sort of trained towards me, not kind of trained or advised to, I needed to get a specific niche. So, well, I'm a midlife woman that's been through all those experiences,
Hmm.
and I've learned what it takes to be able to feel good about yourself and love yourself, and then make sure you have the benchmarks that are in place and know what you really want in life. And that includes a relationship.
Yeah.
So, you can't really find the perfect soulmate. So many people are looking for their perfect soulmate or their
Hmm.
their their mate because they feel so many women
I
feel
think
like,
everybody has one.
yeah, exactly. And then
Do you know what I say it is? It's themselves.
because we're all female and male. You're right. And
forget forget
that's the
looking
secret. Being
forget
in love
looking
with yourself.
yeah, forget looking for that person
Yeah.
outside to fill in something that you're missing inside of you. Forget that,
Exactly.
because it's never going to
Exactly.
happen.
You're absolutely right. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was about to say, and you took the words right out of my
Oops.
mouth.
Uh-oh.
But no,
Uh-oh.
and that's why I have a specific, um, because I've had real personal experience with it. So
Hmm.
I could relate with women, and women can relate more with me because of that. Um, but to be perfectly honest with you, yes, I've even mentored or coached children. So
Uh-huh.
the other thing you were saying about women, more women, you're absolutely right. Statistics show that when even you go out to look, as for the amount of women that sign up or involve themselves with a self-improvement are like 80%.
Hmm.
And there's such a low percentage for the men. However, I'd like to add something to that about us moving and being in the new golden age. We are being really infiltrated with a high level of feminine energy. So women are becoming stronger because they already had that strong sense of femininity, but it's also impacting men, and they're
Yeah.
having to deal with things they hadn't dealt before. They may be feeling emotions and changes coming within them that they haven't ever experienced. And so it's really happening within the whole universe. It's happening to all of us.
Yeah, and I really get what you're talking about, Wendy, because I surround myself by women, and it's not because I do it on purpose. It is because it is the way it's working out, and I just go with the flow, and in order to keep myself in balance, like I do things like, I started a show with a guy, Sensei Grant, um, that's for men, and it's about men, and that's how I attempt to keep things in check, because I don't want to get to the point where I only have women around me, because that doesn't work either. So I'm just attempting to keep things, in balance
and and
the best way I can.
I applaud you. I really do. That those type of programs are needed out there for them. They're going through some hard times.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, they are.
Men were in charge for most of history, and I could speak for them because I'm one of them. But we certainly made a lot of mess of things. We have a lot of responsibility to clean up,
Well,
and
you got us. You got to look at it this way. Whatever y'all did, you got us here to where we are today, and that's
yeah,
what life's all
yeah,
about. Is the
absolutely. And what they
experiences.
say is there's a woman behind every man.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. There you go. There you
If nothing else, our mothers, right?
Exactly. There's whoever it is, be it wife,
Yeah,
girlfriend, mother, daughter, whoever, there,
yeah,
or a good friend, whatever.
yeah,
There's somebody there supporting him on his journey.
yeah, absolutely. So so now I'm curious about how what has to be in place for a woman when they hear you or see you, like on a show like this, or if you speak in front of groups, or however else you market what you do. What makes somebody to actually make a commitment? Because I believe that a lot of people go do a lot of things,
Right.
and without the action part, which
Right.
is actually doing something about it, nothing is going to change. And I know you know
Exactly.
that.
Right.
So what makes people to actually say, okay, I'm going to commit and I'm going to follow through?
I would say, Steve, that what it really takes, their commitment, is they finally have reached a point in their being, in their life, that they know that they need something more than what they've been hearing and receiving. And they're ready to make that journey. And how they make that commitment, like you said, it's up to them. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink.
Hmm.
So I look at it that way. And what I say is, what I present, how I present myself, what I say, and after we speak together, it's what resonates with them, what makes them feel good. If
Hmm.
they felt better by just reading my site and those words resonated with them, and when they speak with me, and that makes them say, "Ooh, I think that this is for me. I think I can stick with this." Because what we
Yeah.
do is we build a foundation. We just don't start up with, and that's why some people fail in some of the programs, and they're not really failing. It's because some of them just give them the highlights already, but they didn't go to the foundation. Let's build the foundation. Let's make you strong. Let's make you confident. Let's make you respect yourself and honor yourself. And then you
Hmm.
can do anything.
Yeah, very good, awesome. So I can certainly say and speak for my own experience. When I went to your website, I felt your love immediately as soon as the website opened. I felt I felt warmth. I felt welcomed, and it's just a website. But even the way you designed your website and you put it together, it represents for me who you really are. And who
Thank
you really are is love.
you. That's what it
I mean,
boils down to.
I can feel it. I can feel it right now. I'm very open to it, and it's easy.
Thank you, Steve. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. You're welcome. So okay. So let's say that the people that are going to get you, because those are the only ones that you can really work with.
That's right.
The ones that really get you and can connect to who you are and
Right.
what you're about.
Because
And so,
what I am, not everybody would resonate with, and
oh,
that's just
absolutely,
everybody's
absolutely.
individuals.
Matter of fact, what I want to bring in, because this is really the right place right now, I'm feeling to bring that in, which is bringing in the ego. So I want to ask you about this because I know you know this. Matter of fact, because of the way you and I can connect and speak,
Right.
I already know that you know everything I know, and I know everything you know.
That's
so
right.
so it's
We
so
just
it's
got to
like,
wake each other up.
yeah, yeah. So it even becomes, these kind of shows become even more challenging, for me, because I'm speaking with the choir, right?
Uh-huh.
So you make the same beautiful music that I make. And it's really easy for us to tune out because your music is just as beautiful as mine. So here's the thing. So what I want to talk about in terms of ego is I'm finding when we have all these broadcasts and when I'm speaking or even when I do my cable TV show, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to listen for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and after they listened that much, they're gone.
Yep.
And at first, years and years ago, that used to really get to me. And where I am with it today is, so this is just, shows you that I've grown some. Where I am with it today is I'm opening the door even wider to help them leave faster. because they're not ready. It's not that I judge them, because I believe that everybody has consciousness and everybody is somewhat awake inside. They just forgot.
Exactly.
And what has taken place is they gave the keys, and I wish I had one here, but I don't, but that's okay. We can imagine a key. So they just gave the key to the car to their ego. And they said, go ahead and drive. I'm just going to go sit on the back seat and just tell me what to do, and what to see, and what, how to respond to everything that we're going to go through on this ride, right?
Right.
How I know? Because I did it. And I'm sure you've done it too. So what I've learned to do differently is that I learned how to manage my ego, and I recognize that my ego is not my enemy,
right,
nor is it my close friend. It is, my ego is here to make sure that I survive.
right,
and it cares that I survive moment to moment. However, I also recognize that I have a master's degree now about how to survive. Because so many things have happened in my life, and you shared some of them, and I read some of them on your website. I mean, you went through so much stuff, and we all do.
yeah,
And because we do, there is no need for us to have the mindset anymore that, okay, so it's another moment, another minute, another hour, another day, another week, another month, another year we have to survive, because we know how to do it. We don't need any more education or any more engagement about that. We know how to do it. Matter of fact, our ego knows how to do it on autopilot. Correct?
yes.
Uh-oh.
Wait. What I was going to say about the ego, there's so many definitions about the ego. And I think I'm understanding where you're coming from as from the ego sense. And I totally agree. Our ego is our programming from the day we were born. It's our programming. It's our personality. It's us, the way we were trained, thinking that we take the kudos for what we do good, and we also criticize ourselves for what we don't do good. And what we don't realize, and this is what part of my coaching is about, is when you realize what you really are, this expression, this creation of the divine, that is what you really are, and you have the most amazing powers within you. So stop criticizing yourself. Forgive yourself. Start loving yourself and respecting and honoring yourself, and realize that everything that you did up to today made you the unbelievable, awesome person you are. What you need to do is start moving forward. Forget about the past, the experiences, just bullet them, put them into a computer, let them go. They made you the quality person you are today. If you hadn't been a survivor, you wouldn't be here today listening to this interview. So I just think that the ego is what we definitely need. It does protect us, and it's always stopping us. When we would try to go to do things, that's always that monkey mind comes into place, and that's that ego saying, oh, I don't think you should do that. Oh, that's not the best thing for you. That type of ego can just wipe you right out, and you never go anywhere. And it's because it's protecting you. So what you can
Well,
do,
it's completely fear-based.
it's actually right. And
Right.
where did that start? From day one, how we're all been programmed.
Yes, and it will have the answer for every type of fear.
Exactly.
what we need to do. So yeah, that's right on. So thank you for completing that, that dialogue with me, because you completed it perfectly. So what we are really saying, I believe, is that there's nothing is, there's no right, in reality, which is in the present moment, there is no right and wrong.
Right.
All we have is just experiences, and the
Correct.
experiences have created us to be who we are in the
Right.
moment. But the next moment, that can be changed.
Exactly. Right. And if you're open to it and you don't hold on to the nastiness or the badness of it, and you grow from it and you say, what was it that happened that made me feel this way? What happened that made this happen to me? And then you go into vibrational frequencies, you go into your thoughts and what you've been thinking and what you've been feeling and what you've been sending out. Because everything that comes from your head to your heart goes out through your actions and it comes back to you. It's just always, that's what happens. It's a complete cycle.
Right.
So,
So we talk about this on the network a lot, and I'd like to get your feedback, because a lot of times people ask me, okay, so you're talking about connecting your mind with your heart, and you're talking about being in the present moment.
mhm.
I hear you. I think I understand, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah,
So
you
how
do.
do that's
Yeah, you do.
oh, I do.
Well, they do too. They just don't know they're doing it.
Okay, so help them
Okay.
right now from your own perspective.
Okay.
How do people connect to the present moment?
Well, what we were talking about as for the present moment, and the present moment is what you're feeling and what you're sending out. So it causes you to what we call energy. We vibrate at a certain frequency. Human bodies vibrate between 62 megahertz to 72. That's a healthy, strong body. Now, what happens with, well, I just lost my train of thought because I got into those vibrational frequencies. Help me. Right before I said that, what did I say?
Okay, well, that's in the past, so I
Oh, it
don't
was
full.
about, it was about going in the, being in the present moment. That's what
got
it was.
got you.
See, I was in the present moment and I forgot about the moment before that.
Uh-huh. It's gone.
Um, but really, what I was saying about too is when we have over 600,000 thoughts that go through our head a day, sometimes more, I think. But we don't think about every one of those. It's the ones we put the emotions with. It's those that really count to us. And when we put those strong emotions, that's what we are manifesting. And the present moment is stop trying to work everything out. Have your goals set, know where you're going, and stop trying to work out the details and be happy with yourself where you are. That's when you start doing the forgiving of yourself and loving yourself. Then you can become content and happy in that moment. You are starting to appreciate where you're at, who you're at, and what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. So I've trained myself throughout the years. This didn't happen overnight either, of course. Is that I know now how to quiet my mind, how to quiet the conversation
Right.
in my head, and that's a huge benefit and help to me, because it used to distract me from the present moment, and I believe it distracts other people.
Absolutely.
Like that's why I think I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard too, is that when you speak or when I'm speaking, like right now we're having this broadcast and people are listening. However, most people, and I'm just trying to be general here, most people will only get 10 to 15% of what we're saying. And the reason why is because they're too busy. Their mind is too busy processing all the other things. For example, what the things they have to do this afternoon, the things they have to do this evening,
Right.
the dinners they have to make, the clothes they have to wash, blah,
Yep.
blah, 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 blah. And they getting themselves and everybody else that they're in connection with in the present moment ripped off because they're not here. And you were talking about relationships. I feel that this is the number one reason why relationships don't work, because we're not even getting our partner. We are not there. We can't put ourselves over there. Like Wendy, what are you going through? Like, I'm listening to you as you're speaking, and I'm really taking myself from here to over there.
Yep. It's the relationship part is it's there's there we go. We got to go back to if you're not already content and fulfilled and know yourself, it's
Mm.
very hard for you to go and help someone else. A lot of people do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's really
Yeah,
hard for you to really
absolutely.
connect with
Yeah.
them and really support them where they need it.
Not
Because
only
you're,
that, I want to say, Wendy, I want to say, sorry to interrupt you, but I want to say that most likely they are dysfunctional. And if they're dysfunctional, they're going to get another dysfunctional person attracted to them.
yes.
And
And
all they're going
why?
to be doing is is just working off of their dysfunction.
Well, it's exactly. If you are not making any changes, just like they say, if you don't make any changes, you're going to get the same thing you've been getting before.
Hmm.
So that's where it has to start. It has to start with your thoughts and how you've been thinking about things. All those negative things or bad things that you're thinking about, you need to start cancel them out. Put them with a big red X and replace them with some, and that's what we go through. We come up with something that really clicks, and you can say really quick to get you to start thinking positive, no matter what it is. Just think positive. That's why you even had that dream place that you can go to, or a mantra or a word. And you probably got control of your mind through, if you didn't, others do through meditation.
Yeah, I
You
do
know,
it the same way.
that's
Yeah,
when
that's
you
what I
have,
do. Yeah.
yeah, that's when you learn to really sit back and watch how that mind really can work. It just runs right through. And then you start bringing yourself to where you just observe.
Yeah, I'm no longer uncomfortable, Wendy, being with myself and being by myself. Huge distinction. I
Yeah.
used to be the kind of guy that couldn't stay for a second alone. I always had to have somebody else with me, and that's no longer true. So I also wanted to give a more specific example in terms of relationships. So let's say if you are a woman
Mhm.
and you keep attracting these guys that sooner or later they're going to abuse you physically or emotionally, and it keeps happening, it's not really their fault, is it? It's not the guy's fault. Well, I
It,
understand. The way I'm trying to present this is that, yeah, I don't approve of what they did.
right.
However, it's happening because she attracted it to herself.
Correct.
Do you believe
Correct.
that?
Correct. You're absolutely right. He's an individual. That's his path. That's the way he deals with things.
Right.
If she changes her way of being, her vibrational frequency, she won't even know this guy. She won't even meet him. She can't even get into the same arena with him. And
Yeah.
she would
Right
never
on.
be attracted to him in the first place. They wouldn't even come together. So you're absolutely right. So it has, and that's how it works, not only in relationships, but whatever you attract all around you. You're going to have whatever you attract, it's basically what has been created through you. Whatever you see on the outside, whatever you experience on the outside came first from within you. That's where we are co-creators of our own lives. What we see is confirmation of what's going on inside of us. If we're not happy, what we see outside, that means we're not happy inside, and that's when we start changing about what's going on inside of us. And it's usually right up here in those thoughts,
Right.
and
Right
then
on.
it affects the heart.
Yeah. So let's talk about self-limiting beliefs because this is one of my pet peeves. So, and of course, from these self-limiting beliefs, what we also get is lots of opinions, assessments, and judgments.
Sure.
And when you are out there in the world, and when out there in the world, I'm certainly noticing that human beings do this a lot. It's all about judgments, assessing other people, having opinions, and none of that stuff really matters because it isn't even true.
Right. Right.
So there's just a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
people
the
who
real
are,
blow when I found out that there's no truth. And when you think about it from that standpoint, well, how many millions and billions of people are on this earth? And everybody is an individual and everybody has their own truth.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. And what we're fighting over and what people are fighting over is this program of a belief of a truth that you feel. But think of all the billions of truths. So which one is right? Which one is wrong? None of them.
yeah. And the interesting thing is that we end up taking on other people's beliefs
Mhm.
and we make it our own, but they not we didn't generate them from within here. We just took them on because
Exactly.
for whatever reason it sounded good, or we just,
Right.
you know, we considered the source, whatever. So it's like, I don't do religion on this network, but I just want to mention something about religion. So I've gone through a number of religious groups before, because I was still searching. I'm of course no longer searching, but I checked it out so that I wouldn't be ignorant about it. So one of the things that really stood out for me is that, why would you want to go to church and be called a sinner?
Well, and you're absolutely right. And that is because that's that this is so that is I don't know why they would, but it's only because of how they were brought up and what's inside of them that makes them feel better when they go to a building, a group, a organization that says you are a sinner, where it's the absolute, I believe, the absolute opposite that you should be teaching people. You should be teaching them about their goodness and their divineness and how they can really make themselves someone that is closer to their to the God, to Jesus, to whatever that they are relating to in that particular religion. We have so many different people, so many different personalities, so many different programmings. Of course, we're going to have millions of religions and ways for people to really connect. That's their path. It may not be, there's no way that everybody can believe the same way. It would be boring, you know? So everybody's growing. They're just growing the way they need to. Now, what? Go ahead.
But wait, Wendy. But isn't it funny that if you study Jesus, Jesus didn't call anyone sinner.
No.
So what happened? Because I believe that people that are religious, and I don't care what religion they're into, we all know and understand that Jesus was as pure as a human being as we have been able to demonstrate it so far, and we killed him for it.
Right.
Because
I know it. I think about that a lot.
We couldn't handle it. So here's what's funny. So we know all this,
yeah,
but we still go to the house of Christ and allow some human being at the top of the food chain,
right,
in religion, to tell us otherwise. And then we reach into our pocket and put the money into wherever we're putting it into to
right,
feel better about ourselves.
Right.
Until next week. This is insane. It's crazy making to me.
Well, yes, it is, and it's hard for you now to understand that because of everything that you've learned and what you felt when you were growing up. This is ludicrous. Why should I go to a place that reprimands me every time I turn around? But like I said, it's just sort of like it's been created. It's been created over the period of time, and unfortunately, it's been based on fear. If you think about it, it all has to do with fear. I fear I'm a sinner. I fear that I would not be approved by God. I'm this, I'm that, and it's all making people feel so low about themselves and to fear the wrath of their maker. And so why do people do that? And why do they continue to go to places? Now, there's not all the religions don't teach that. You know that. So the ones
that I'm not trying to make general statements.
Right.
I may sound like it's a general statement, but I don't believe it's true for every situation and every church. And
right. Because it's not. Because there's a lot of them that don't do
that. It's not a universal truth. It's just I'm speaking in terms of majority and especially a lot of the experiences that I had personally. That's what I experienced. Right. And that doesn't make my experience to be right or wrong. It's just what it is.
Right, but it stuck with you, and what I have heard over the years and the people I've talked to, that stuck with them also. They don't understand that.
Wendy, what I noticed, and this may be helpful for our viewers, what I noticed is that, and this is not only true in religion, it's true in politics, and it's true in health, it's true in all the areas that we actually have television channels in at Conscious Evolution Media. And what I'm saying is, and this is probably a good entry into that conversation, is that I've noticed that in all these areas out there in the world, there's a lot of confusion, manipulation, fear, and force.
Yes.
And I train myself to notice that. And when I notice it, I don't directly fight it, or nor do I declare a war against it,
right,
because I know better.
right.
So I just acknowledge it, that is what's so. And matter of fact, I kind of learned that our pain as human beings is really come from the fact that we're not okay with how things are.
That's a contrast.
Yeah, so my peace actually comes from, so if I go outside in the world, and this is, remember at the beginning of the show we're talking about this, we're going to come to this. So as an awake and conscious human being, and I'm speaking of you, Wendy, when you go out there in this state of confusion, manipulation, fear, and force, how do you deal with that world, and how do you specifically deal with the people that are still, I don't know. I have this new thing about human beings that are not awake or not conscious enough, and it's not a judgment. It's I say that they are on training wheels. It's like human beings are driving a little tricycle, and they're not ready for balance yet. So it's not a judgment. It's not that they're bad or they're less than me. They just still on training wheels. They're learning.
They are.
So how do you live in that world? Because we can't. In a way, the life that I'm creating and the life that I'm having, it's kind of like utopia.
Right. Exactly.
Do you get it? And
yes,
it's like when I try to take it out there, people like go, "Who the hell are you?"
Well, yeah, because they're seeing and they're feeling something totally different than what they're experiencing. And of course, they're going to put up their walls and barriers. Now, as for what you're saying is, again, when you go out there, you're probably just going out there, and I'm not sure, but what you mean by out there, are you meaning in everyday chores, or when you go out and you go to a presentation?
Oh my God! Just go outside your door, go into your car, lock the car, and go somewhere. Okay. As soon as you do that, you're in what I call, and you don't even have to do that actually. You can stay in your home and turn on your television.
There's one thing.
And as soon as you do that, you're going to be out there.
Right. Okay. When television, let me tell you what I decided to do, and that allowed me to raise my level of happiness. I don't watch the news. You really don't have to know the news. Believe me, people are going to let you know enough about what's going on. All you need to know is the facts. You don't need to know about all the stuff that's dragged out in the gore. You pick your channels that you're going to watch when it comes to TV. When it goes outside, you set an intention. You got your vibrational frequency. You know it's going to be high. So you already set your intention that everything that you're going to come across is going to work smoothly, calmly, and everyone's going to be in a loving and happy mood. And I tell you, it works.
Awesome.
They always say to do it first with a parking place. Just test it and see your faith in it. You want the ideal parking place. You want it right in front, and especially if you're running late. Always remember that. And set your intention to be able to either get to a place on time or find that perfect parking place that's going to allow you just to go right into that building. So that's pretty much it. And then I always have, like, when you're saying in a car, or in the car, I can have music playing, and I always have high vibrational frequency music playing of some nature that really builds up and keeps.
And when somebody cuts you off, then what do you do?
Oh, when somebody cuts me off?
Or flips you the finger.
Oh, well, that doesn't happen to me a lot.
It doesn't happen to you. Okay.
But when it
does,
you
don't drive around
hey, listen,
Los Angeles.
I'm human. I might as well get it out and vent and let it go so that I don't experience. I mean, so I don't carry it on and let it go. And then as soon as I do that, then I realize that I'm going, oh, you know, what am I doing? And then I get myself back into it. Okay, what was it that triggered you? Because every time you get upset, every time that something you don't, that really gets down to you, you just makes you boil, that is a trigger
Mhm.
that there's something within you that hasn't been resolved. Because if it had and you were calm about it and peaceful, that whatever
It
that
would have never
person,
triggered. It would have never triggered
exact,
you. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So you truly believe that we are really not only people, but what's happening in our everyday present moment life. Everything is a reflection of who we are being from the inside.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Exactly.
there's no need to point the finger
No, no,
that it's your fault and you make.
right.
Every time people go, you make me feel.
Yeah,
I just smile because
right.
nobody has the power to make you feel
Exactly.
like anything.
Right. You
You have the
can't,
power. You have the power to allow yourself to get reactional, or you can just receive it and just let it go.
and that's what's bringing it inside of you. It's like, uh-oh, what is this reaction? And we usually live on the outside, but that's the time to take that opportunity of and take that experience and opportunity to say, uh-oh, what was it that made me feel that way? What was it that made me act that way? What's inside of me? And that's how you go about really getting within you and finding out about what's all this going on inside of you.
Awesome. So I know that you're up to. I mean, I knew within the first minute I met you that you're up to the same thing that we're up to.
We're
On
light
this net
workers.
on this network, which is I am totally inspired by people like yourself and people that what they are doing is that they learn how to walk the talk, and now that they can walk the talk, they can show it to other people how to do it. And you're not qualified to help people, like you said earlier in the show, if you haven't learned how to walk your own talk.
Right,
It's just not possible. It's not authentic.
right. Yep, you can really tell when a person's had experience. You can feel it, you can tell it in their tone of voice and the way
Mhm.
they can express themselves, and then that you know that they've been there, they've done that, they're with you. You
You
can
know,
feel that support. You're right.
and I can't begin to tell you, Wendy, how many life coaches and people from the helping profession has come through this network where all they want to do is basically stand on the top of the mountain and talk down to the viewers. And that so doesn't work.
Mm. No, absolutely not. It doesn't.
Yeah,
No,
because
because
people are smarter these days than that. If you say I have the answer for everything that you're going through, and all you have to do is come to me and drink my Kool-Aid. As soon as you drink my Kool-Aid,
sign me up. What's that recipe?
no, no, there's no one fix.
No, there
And
isn't.
you said it on the show, I think, more than once, that we're all different. All
Exactly.
7 billion of us is maybe we look a lot alike, but our makeup and our
Exactly.
DNA and our
Exactly.
history and how do we respond to things and what we took on as a kid,
Exactly.
it's a different version.
Yes.
And
Yes.
therefore different things will work for different people. It's not
Exactly.
a one thing,
Oh no.
one solution,
I know.
one tool, one modality that will
And,
work
and
for
and it's
everybody.
continuous. It's
Mhm.
continuous growth. You just don't stop. It's just not one thing. Just like we were talking about. I started off in church, but then from church I went to City Yoga. And then I just expanded to where I realized that all the religions are based on the same thing. Everything's based on the same foundation. They all have the same belief and foundational belief. It's all
Yeah.
the other stuff that was added on top to be able to resonate with the people that are a part of that group. Does that make sense? Did that make sense?
Yeah, I kind of see it a little bit differently, so I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Okay.
I think what happened, and this is what's happening to basically most everything out there, is that we bring our humanity to these things,
Hmm.
and humans that are not awake and not conscious will bring the confusion, manipulation, and fear and force to whatever it is that they're involved in, and they all will have an underlining agenda. And that agenda is not love, unfortunately. Because if it was, we wouldn't have this mess we have out there in the world.
No, their agenda's not.
And so because they have this
No,
agenda, whatever that agenda is,
right?
and that could be their satisfying their ego, it could be money, it could be control, it could be a lot of things.
Correct.
But once we give ourselves to those things get very messy.
Oh, yeah. That's because you're truly getting out of your vortex. You're getting away from your true self. You're just work. That's when the ego is taking over your life rather than the being, the whole being that's within you.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I see that is that for example, these religions, they all have a leader. And
Hmm.
they have what's called, senior management. And same thing with politics. It's always a top-down uh, construct. And if the people at the top are very unconscious and very not awake, who they will attract is the same type of people, and they will have a havoc in
And
terms of,
that's why what you were
yeah,
saying, if you follow a specific person and they're of that nature, well, what's going to happen to you? That's your programming. That's what's going to happen in your life. Those are going to be your beliefs,
yeah,
right?
it's the outcome
And
is
it's
very,
not and it's not until that person says, "Wait, this just does not sound right. This doesn't
right,
feel good.
right. But
There
I
must be
think,
something else."
and that comes from inside of us, and everybody has
Exactly.
it. And it's just a different timing, because I went through these experiences with religion, for example, and I figured it out, and
Hmm.
I think most people will figure it out, and
And
the
it's
ones
yep.
that don't, they just not ready to. It's not that there's anything wrong with them. It's just it's not their time.
It's not
Not
what wasn't in their contract.
Yeah, none of this stuff. I used to say, "Oh my God, I'm going to create this network and I'm going to change the world." Well, yeah, I changed that to, after 9 years, all I'm going to do is create incredible value, and I'm going to serve people, and I'm going to become a better human being every moment of my time, and the rest will just have to take care of itself.
Right. Because you being of that nature, guess what's going to happen? People who are ready will resonate to you.
Mhm.
They will come.
And I'm not concerned about, you know, who am I going to change today?
Right.
Because the answer to that is it
You
will be
can,
me.
yeah, you're right. Right. That's exactly, yes. All coaches, all teachers always get more or as much as the person that they're coaching or
Yeah, and
teaching.
they can be really honest about that and straightforward and share
Yeah.
that with their clients, because that's what I love about people that are willing to be vulnerable and authentic. And that's such an important part of this industry, I feel. So, like I said, the ones that are not ready for this are going to be struggling in this business because they pretending to be a coach or whoever they are. That's not real. And people that are in real pain and they're ready for moving on will know it. You
Right.
can't we can't fool anybody other than ourselves.
Right. But and like we were saying, it's steps. People grow,
Hmm.
just like I know I grew through steps. So there has to be all of these things out there for people to go from here and say, okay, I'm ready for the next. And
Hmm.
then they go to the next and the next and the next. So what you're saying is, yep, those people might be experience that coach and say, well, I'm still missing something. It's still not complete. And then they'll go to the next step. They'll
Yeah, and the
find the
teacher
next.
will come to in our lives exactly when we're ready and at the
Exactly.
level that we are ready at.
There you go.
Yeah, because you can't play, you know, tennis with somebody who is, you know, 100 times better than you. Not possible. I've tried. It's very
Me
bad.
too. It's not very much fun.
It's very
For
uncomfortable,
both
and
of us.
it's not fun. Yeah. If you can serve me a ball that I can't give back and you can do it consistently, that's not a game.
Oh, that's true.
So guess what? The hour is over. Would you believe it?
That's awesome. It was so quick.
Yeah, I
It
told you it would
was. It
be.
was so enjoyable. Thank you so much. And I really am very honored to be a guest on your show. And I am very thankful and grateful that you are doing what you're doing and reaching out, and that you've dedicated your life to spread the word that it's all about love. It's all about happiness. It's all about knowing who you are and just honoring and respecting yourself so that you can honor and respect others.
Absolutely. So what I want to put in there is it's all about loving ourselves and
Yep.
learn how to do that first, and the rest
Yes.
will just
Yes.
unfold like magic.
Ah,
So why don't you spend
excellent.
why don't you spend a few more minutes with us? Well, we got 4 more minutes. Spend that time with us. Just tell us some of the programs that you have and
Okay.
how do you want people to contact you. And that could be a website, whatever you feel comfortable
Yeah,
with.
it's best just to go to my website, which is www, and it's my name, and I'll spell that for you. WendyBaudin.com. So it's wendybaudin.com. If you go there and you actually put your email in, you'll get a self-love assessment that'll give you an idea of where you are in your self-love. You can also then, being on this, listening to this, contact me, and we'll have a free consultation, a complimentary consultation, and we'll get to talk and see if there's anything I can help you with. Now, as for my programs, what I have is there's 3 different programs. You can actually take where you just do the modules. I have these modules that'll take you from A to Z. As for what it all gives you, all the foundation, everything, what you said, but everything that really would help you and what you need as for information, and then you just grow from there. And then I have 2 other programs where it's one-on-one coaching with me. One's a 3-month program and one's a 6-month program. And everything's out there on the website. So, and then I also put out a self-love tip of the week. So it's always little love quotes or self-love quotes or of that nature. And then I also do that on my Facebook and LinkedIn. So, again, my website is www.wendybaudin.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Wendy. You were absolutely fantastic, and I would like to acknowledge you for being, you represent love itself.
Oh, Steve, thank you. That's so beautiful. Thank you.
And it was so easy to be with you for this hour. It's like, oh my God, it's like being in, you know, one of those European beds where it's all. Oh, that didn't come out right. Sorry. That's not what I meant. I meant, I don't know if you ever been in these European beds that are full of feathers and feather pillows and all that, and once you get in there, you don't want to get out.
That's a very high compliment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just what came to me. I mean, sometimes stuff comes out of my mouth, Wendy, and
That's great.
I just have to turn around and go, did I really say that? Where the heck did that come from?
You were being in the present moment. You
Yeah.
were being, see?
Yeah. All right. So this was absolutely fantastic. I enjoyed you tremendously, and I'm going to have my assistant Nan get a hold of you and book you on our cable TV show, which is called The Living Consciously TV. And you get to
Awesome.
play with us, not just with you and I, but you get to play with a group of 5 people on a
Oh,
show.
that's wonderful. I
Isn't
love it.
isn't that amazing? Because
That is
you know
amazing.
what I know, and that is once you have more than 2 people, everything changes.
Wow, that's going to be really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. So
All kind of
my
stuff's going to come up.
yeah. So my idea with this whole network really is, I just wanted to share that with you and the viewers, is that initially it was all about focusing on the self, and we have moved on from the self, actually talking to people like individuals like yourself,
Mhm.
and then we're taking that, and where that came from to me is like, if you can do something that works, you can do it in your house, then you can do it in your neighborhood,
Right.
then you can do it in your county, and then you can do it in your city, you can do it in your county, you can do it in your state, you can do it in your country, and then you can do it in the world. So that's where these ideas came from.
Awesome. Awesome. That's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, so thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and we'll stay in touch.
Okay,
And
great.
for all the other viewers out there and the people that are listening to the archives as well, see you next week, same time, same place, 2 o'clock Mountain on the Mind, Body, and Soul Show, as well as, of course, 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific. Uh, I love you all. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Bye for
Thank you,
now.
everybody.